Okay, 2003 Dodge Intrepid. I have a 42LE or the 606 transmission. And this one actually, it's the 42LE, and this one actually sits behind the motor versus to the side of it. So the L is probably longitudinal and the E is electronic. But basically when we open this, very, very similar to the gear train and drums to the 604, the typical 604. So what's going on with this is the guy claims it was delaying in drive. He said he would be on the parkway and it would just downshift from 4th gear and go into failsafe, which is 2nd gear. We had a bunch of codes. We had the fault immediately after a shift code, gear ratio error in 1st, which is PO731. I had a P1776, which is the switch valve, they say latched in a low reverse position, and a few other codes that go with that 1776. Now, this is a 2003, and in that year, when they produced the solenoid packs, which are internal to this, the 604 is external, they actually were defective right from the factory, and you have to look at the, I don't know what the dates are off the top of my head, but there's a build date on the solenoid pack, and I have a bulletin to say that if the solenoid pack that you have in the car falls in between the build dates, then it is defective, and that could be the cause for the 1776 code. I mean, many things could be the cause for this particular code. You could have a valve body problem. The solenoid switch valve could be latched in a low reverse position. The range switch, cable out of adjustment, wire. Very, very difficult code to diagnose. But being the fact that this is an 03, we're going to do the overhaul because it has other issues as well. And we're going to put it back in the car, drive it around, see if we get that 1776 code to set. Also, when I get this apart, I'm going to check the build date on the solenoid pack. I had one of these in an Intrepid, and the way I was checking it, I had to use my scope with the dual screen because I had to hook up to the low reverse, the wire, and I had to watch them as this thing went into lock to see what was going on. And it was coming up as, you know, possibly a valve body solenoid pack. So I would buy the reman setup. We actually bought it from the dealer, and we would put the valve body in, let the car go, later would come back, same code, I check it again, I get the same results, and everything was pointing to the valve body, which they would sell with the solenoid. You know, I bought the whole reman set because it could be so many things. And honestly, I think on the 4th or 5th one, I finally got good readings when using the scope to diagnose this problem. So it's and I did a handful of these 1776. I actually just did one probably about 6 months ago on a Chrysler 300 with a 42 RLE, and that ended up being a valve body problem. So it could be many different things. It's honestly, probably, in my opinion, one of the most difficult codes to diagnose in the you know, working on transmissions when you're into this diagnosing. So, but we're going to tear this thing apart. We're going to see what we find. And also, back in the day with the 604s and stuff, there is a gasket. There is the apply plate for the low reverse piston. Behind that, there is a gasket, and that gasket, I believe that gasket used to shrink, so when that would happen, you would lose pressure, would bang on a downshift, it could delay. But overall, we're going to overhaul this transmission because the guy is keeping the car. We're doing other work to it as well. So let me get a little closer, and I have most of the bolts out just to make the teardown go a little quickly because it's actually very, very busy here. I have a 62 TE, I got this one, I got a Honda C6, I got an 8HP70. It's very busy. When we were taking this out of the car, this shaft stays with the transmission, and here is the axle, and we could not get this out. It was frozen in here. So we just took the boot off and we took it apart and left this in. So this whole piece here slides in, and you just got to take a ring off to slide it out, I undid this snap ring right here. And we're going to work on this now. We'll put in a vise. We'll see if we can maybe heat this up or get it out. And shouldn't be a problem. Put the axle back together. So this is out, and I did have the pan down to drain it. And I have the covers off, just to make it go a little quicker for the teardown. All right, so let me go a little closer, and we will begin tearing this down. Okay, so before we start the teardown, here is your input speed sensor, your output speed sensor. Here is your range switch, which of course is attached onto the valve body. And your solenoid pack connector goes in here. It's held in with a bolt. Solenoid pack is internal. Actually, I haven't done one of these in a while. Okay, and here's the diff. We're going to probably start by taking the diff out. Putting that aside, then we'll start with the main pump and drums. All right, but this is what this unit looks like. Again, it sits behind the engine, not to the side. 42LE. All right, so I got most of the bolts out. I think it just got two holding it in, so we're going to take cover off, take the diff out, and then we're going to start with the pump and stuff. That the axle butts up against, I guess, the seal, so nothing gets caught. The splines don't get corroded or anything, but it happens anyway. So there's a little O-ring that's going to sit kind of just like that. And I had to take this off to get the cover off. Right, you got a seal. You got a seal here for the axle, and you also have a seal inside here for the other axle that I haven't taken out of it. That's the diff. This portion here is just going to pretty much stay in the unit. Okay, now the pump. Took the bolts out. Here is your pump. Main drum setup. Face that camera down a little bit. Second. Okay. Okay. All right. Before we go further, I want to get these sensors out. Here's the output. Here, and the input. Okay, typical for the same as the 604 sensors. The output has the little tip on it here, and the input is flat. Okay. Here. See if I can get this planted out. All right. Oh, we got a pin that just fell out of the front planet, so that's going to be changed. These are just held in with welds, and a weld probably broke, and that fell out. So we're going to get a front planet. All right. And this actually could come apart, and you can get a new one and save the ring here. Okay, so we're going to get a new front planet. alignment. So this pin here fell out. All right, so that we're gonna get. This we could reuse. And get the sun here. Looks in good shape. Okay. I'm going to take this back cover off. And if you want to drop this valve body, well, the unit's still in the car, of course, you have to have the selector in low. Chains, drive chains. All right, so we're going to take out this lube pipe here so it doesn't get damaged. And here is the chain guide. Okay, problem. Just get the socket. All right, so now we have little snap rings here. We got to get these snap rings out. And then we got to take the chain assembly off. Let's see if I can do that. Let's try this. Snap rings are very, very thin. Way. Okay, and then you have this piece here that keeps tension on the snap ring, I guess. So they both have one. Now the chains setup should come off. Okay. And then you have spacer here in between the chain and the planet. That's going to go there. So this here is going to pretty much just stay. This is just the pinion. All right, and now I'm going to cut this. I take a whiz wheel and kind of just cut it here. And cut it here where it's crimped, and we'll be getting a new end nut for that. All right, but the next thing we're going to do now is take the pan down. Some of the soil. filter valve body. But I couldn't get the socket. It's too big. The body of the. All right, so here are the filter bolts, and you have these little clips that hold the filter down. Right, there's your filter. Now we take all the 10s out. Let's see if we can lift this valve body out. I already have the selector in low. For the filter. Okay, so they should be out, so let's see if we can lift this valve body off. There we go. Solenoid pack, range switch. Okay, now here are the accumulators. They are both the same with 2 springs. So it doesn't matter where they go can go in either one. Okay. And a little bypass valve. Maybe a needle nose for that. We'll get that out later. Okay, I'm gonna get the snap ring out. Take the 2/4 clutch out. Go. Piston. Aluminum piston. Goes over the turn spring, and here comes the 2/4 clutch. Okay, all these units I like to do a banner kit. And one of the things that I do on the pretty much the 604s, this unit when I get it 62 TEs, I like to change the 2/4 steels. Sometimes, I didn't really care for the shift sometimes on the 1-2 shift on these Chrysler units, and I started putting new steels in, and it just seemed to be okay. So, you know, for a couple of bucks, it's really not that bad. I always change the 2/4 steels. All right, now we get a couple of things here. Now we got to get the plate out.
is the plate in between the low reverse and the 2/4 clutch. Okay. So this is beveled, and the bevel is going to face up. And pretty much that has to match this plate, because just like anything else, and I know I've said it numerous times when tearing these down, you can't have any movement in this plate. So this usually comes as a set. You mic this up, you know, 230 thousandths, 240 thousandths, and then it comes with a snap ring. And there is another one that is the same. This is very flimsy. Get the roll reverse clutch out. Also, if you have a scan tool, you can look at the CVIs and tell for internal wear. I don't think I ever did a video just on CVIs, but I probably will. That is clutch volume index, and it actually shows internal wear through a number. And you can tell if you know what's good, what's bad. You can tell if the clutch is good, if it's worn out, if it's, you know, possibly going to cause problems in the future. Okay. So let me just get set up for this here. I'm going to get my whiz wheel. I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut here. And this way I don't damage the, this is all part of the rear planet. So if you damage the threads and you cannot get a new nut on, then you got to change it. So that's why I slice it and I knock it out. And I have a big socket, probably about a 2-inch socket maybe. Is this the right size? Yeah. This is the one on the 62 TE also. This is 2-inch. All right, so let me just get my my tool for that. I think somebody else is using it. I will be right back. Okay, so I cut those out. Got my big socket here. All right, came right out. So this nut will be replaced with the new one. I always do that anyway. Okay, now we can knock this planet out here. Bearing, braces in the case. And you have another space there that goes in between the bearings. All right, so there you go. Okay. All right, now we can take the, what we're actually going to have to do is take the parking pole out to get the low piston. All right, so there's a small 8mm bolt that holds that in. And this. Gotta get, let's see. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna knock this pin out, one of them. this one out. They're kind of just peened in place there. I got a gift for that. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Alright, there's that. Okay, now I'm going to use snapping pliers and get the snap-ring out that holds the return spring and piston in. Okay, so I got it out on one end, and then you can just pull it out. That. This. Okay, now I need pliers. See if we can get this thing to move. Go. Okay, now take this. How many extensions? This is the apply plate. It's held in with 3 small T25 bolts. And when I put when you buy the overhaul kit, it comes with a new apply plate and new bolts. But I put a dab of Loctite on the old bolts because they just seem to go in much easier, and I torqued that plate down to 40 inch-pounds. The gasket on the back of this, and here's the plate, which is going to be changed. Okay, so this section of accumulate here. Let me get my eyelets. Alright, so we'll take this apart. And this accumulator actually goes in opposite of the other two, but it's like that on all of them. So these accumulators you drop in, and the spring's going to be sticking up. This one, the spring's going first. And here's the cover. And then I should get one of these out. Blow a little air in there. Now, it's the same accumulator as the other ones. There we go. right? But this would go in first instead of this way like the other ones. And they're all the same. And the bypass. There's a ball and spring there. You want to make sure that is okay and not stuck. Good cause 740 code. All right, so this thing is stripped. Pretty much what we'll do is we just can open up the pump and the big drums. Take a look at that, and I guess that's about it. So just give me fuel. I want to clean up, get rid of the case, and I will be right back. All right, so let's take a look at the pump. Right, looks good. Gears, this is rotor style. All right, gears actually look in good shape. And the pump, pressing looks good, really no wear at all on this. That looks good. I want to get the bearing here. All right, you want to take a look at these washers. These washers sometimes tend to wear, so just make sure these look in good shape, which it is. All right, now I need this is the reverse clutch. And you won't get a, for the reverse clutch, you don't get, there's no CVI that monitors this. All right, now we're going to take the overdrive clutch, which gets applied in third. So with the CVI's may be constantly changing, and you'll see this CVI change when it shifts to third gear. Okay, this is a straight snap ring, and the one underneath this pressure plate is wavy. Okay, so here's the pressure plate. Now we're going to take, this is the overdrive hub with the overdrive clutches. And this one's a little black, so again, it's getting a batter kit. Let's take this snap ring out here. Okay, this is the wavy one. That goes in first, and the pressure plate in the flat one. Bearing here. And then we're going to take, there's another plate here that is like the one that was in the case, meaning it's in between two snap rings and it cannot move. Let me just find the opening. Pretty thick, but again, it matches this plate. They're a match set. All right, underdrive, and we got another flimsy snap ring. and you have your underdrive. Okay, now you have 5-tab that you want to look at and make sure it's okay, which looks good. Then you got a couple of more washers. This one goes on this side, just like a 604. 3-tab goes on this side. All right, now one thing that I always do, this is what reads the input speed sensor. All right, here's the two hubs. There's two bushings in here, and the bushings tend to wear out. Okay, this, if you can see the movement, it's not that bad, but Sonics has a one-piece bushing that I replace because sometimes you will, a common issue with these is the overdrive clutch burns out. You know, you'll make a 1-2 shift and it goes to third, there's nothing there. These bushings tend to wear out, which I believe would lose pressure to that clutch. All right, so as a standard rebuild procedure, I change these two bushings in here. Or sometimes if the hub is no good and I don't have one, you can get a new aftermarket one. And of course that comes with new bushings. All right, so I guess that is about it. Sorry if I went a little quick on this one, but actually today is a Sunday, but I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game because it's so busy here. And I guess that is about it. 2003 Dodge Intrepid. All right, you know what? If you're looking for information on the solenoid packs, it's usually etched in. You know, there's numbers that are etched in right up in here. So that should have, you know, kind of like the build date. I believe it's 2132. So that I believe is the 20. I know what it is. It says, all right, 2132. So it's the 213th day of 2002. That's what it means. It's been a while since I did this, but so 2132, 213th day of 2002. So what I got to do now is find my chart, and I'm sure that number is going to go within the ones that are defective that would cause that 1776 code. Okay, so once again, I thank you guys for watching. 2003 Dodge Intrepid. On this one, we had the guy said he was on the highway and thing would go into fourth gear, from fourth gear down to second into failsafe. We'd have to pull over on the expressway, shut it off, turn it back on. Then it would drive okay. For a while, it happened again. And we got it in here, checked it out. We just didn't actually have a laundry list of codes, so we are doing an overhaul. And this here on the valve body, there's another accumulator here. This is for the 1-2 shift on the valve body accumulator. You want to make sure that's all smooth. The rain switch, solenoid pack. These two are definitely 100% going to be changed, because this probably falls within the bad ones, and these do have a failure rate. You know, we see that a lot. We do a lot of these. Or this, you know, between a 604, 42 RLE. This again, you know, it's been a while since I did one of these, but it's kind of the same thing like a 42 RLE almost. So this is going to be changed as well. I certainly don't want to be doing this thing twice, dropping out the valve body, a little bit of a pain. And that is about it. I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.